We're going to play that neutral kind of like just counter that neutral game again, because we're going to just try to flatten them out. Now we're going to kind of look at almost kind of, not, some people would kind of say like even a reverse side control, a reverse half guard kind of position, but we're going to look at staying on top but moving away a little bit, and it's going to give us some options with this. More often than not, the threat of the head leaves open the arm, but also we can now follow that same angle, just like what I was saying before. The threat of the arm, forearm, leaves open the near side leg. Right, so we're going to really look at still trying to keep all of this control, and we're going to kind of play off of some options and force him to make a decision, he or she, that will ultimately be wrong. So here's the idea. He kind of comes back up again, so I'm dealing with that initial kind of counter just to kind of get him flat, okay? And if I don't like the immediate angle because he's still on his side, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to move away a little bit to force him to play again. If he goes back again, guess what? I'm going to flatten him out this time. Good. Here's the idea. I'm kind of like negating that near hip. I'm tight on this this near shoulder, but I'm based here, out and wide. It's fine because I'm going to start to kind of move away a little bit. Remember, I'm going to say top, but I'm going to be away. Top is winning, bottom is losing, away is okay. So I'm going to end up switching that position because I know he's got that far underhook, right? But here's the key thing. When he comes back into me, I'm already controlling that near hip. So guess what? I'm already able to still maintain control. I'm keeping a half guard variation or just pinching that near hip so that way this can't come up and loose so he can't come all the way up. This is here still to block until I can upgrade the position where ultimately I'm going to want my right arm more on top of him, but I'm going to end up flattening him out a little bit more. There's a couple ways I can deal with it from here. This is just here. This can just be annoying just to kind of wiggle him. But the nice thing about this is as this near side wiggles, it's allowing me to go ahead and get more control of this arm. So what ends up happening, again, if he gives me a pass, I'm going to just go, right? Because that's the best case scenario. If he gets stubborn to this and he's now starting to lock it, it's fine. I'm going to reach back to his hand and start to get to a Kimura kind of position. Now, I can either get a real tight rear naked choke, or I'm just going to kind of get loose to this. And here's why I'm saying that. If I get really tight with this again, remember, I got to get loose here. But if I get like my little motorcycle grip, I'm getting a little control here. And John will tell you that's why he tried to move my, my body right now. I'm literally just kind of laying on his head like a pillow. Here's the reason being. If he goes to move this arm right now, I have some kind of control of it, and I ultimately want to see, get a reaction. I'm still controlling this near hip by keeping my right leg kind of down, and notice that my left leg's pointing up. He's selling out, I'm pinching on this hard, and he's also kind of dealing with this. That's fine. If I get him to deal with this, my left hand, right, and my near side is going to reach to the foot and just pull it back towards his butt. And I'm going to end up getting kind of like a calf crusher kind of tap from there. It gets tighter the tighter that I have this shoulder up and in. So if I can get this up and in and getting him to really play this, I want the slack here just to go ahead and pull. Now, if he kicks his legs away, guess what? He may give me the guard pass or whatever else. That's perfectly fine. If he doesn't, and he's now starting to do anything else, so I go to pull here, and now he goes to deal with that, well, now he's starting to give me the Kimura, right? Now I can start to play and upgrade the position and everything else. Remember, need, want, nice to have. I want to just upgrade my position. If I end up improving it right off the bat, that's fine. More often than not, guys are going to start to, guys and girls are going to start to panic here. We want to just stay rational. I'm still on top, I'm a little away, and I kind of want to see what he's going to end up doing. If he ends up trying to bring this arm back up in front, more often than not, he may end up putting himself in a bad spot. Good, I still have control of this arm. You'll see where my hand is right here, because remember, the threat of the choke leaves open the arm, which leaves open the opposite leg more often than not for that initial kind of control, right? On like a lengthy kind of leg lock and everything else. So like a calf crusher, like what I was just doing with that fulcrum, and then I ultimately have to have similar kind of control here. I have control of this arm right now. So here's the deal. I'm loose on this arm and I'm tight on this hip. There's only one real thing that he can try to do is come up more back up and into me. As he comes up and into me, my hand right there slides right back to the guillotine. And it's very tight right off the bat because there's nowhere for him to move. So when you get really kind of good at understanding a lot of the stuff, I'm just going to have John lay down for a second. We're going to be loose. If I'm really tight on this and I control this hip and that far shoulder, that's going to give me a lot of kind of stuff to work on, and I can play like some zone kind of stuff to here. When he ends up coming up and into me, remember, if I'm doing that front headlock, this is going to leave open some possibilities at this shoulder. if that's leaving that open, because I'm looking at tight shoulder locks, like a Kimura, because I'm choking this up tight, or an arm bar, everything else, I'm tight on here. Now I follow this line directly diagonal back down. I'm gonna have to go from being really tight here to really loose, which means now, instead of me focusing a lot of that tight control up here, I'm gonna have to have a little laxity here to be able to get that kind of calf crusher and everything else. Worst case scenario, I don't get that immediate, I don't have enough slack in it to get it. I'm not gonna force it. I may play to that more, that control on that near side. But here's the nice thing, as this gets, tight and I'm starting to lose it, guess what I'm gonna do? I move long on here, which now is going to let him move this more, but as that moves, that's actually letting me get deeper right into my front headlock or my choke control, because I want to separate his neckline from his shoulder line. The more that I can actually just take his arm and get this away to give me space, it's only going to make it even deeper and easier for me to get my, my choke controls. So that's one of those things that really kind of appreciate what, what we were working on tonight with this. There's many other things that we can do, from this kind of position. But if we have an understanding of like that neutral game, that zone game, and playing to this, we're staying on top, we can move away, we're gonna force somebody into a really bad spot. For our competition people, we can use a lot of these things. Let's get the pass, let's get some points, let's go from there. And then when we're on top, let's stay on top. For our MMA guys and for our guys who are in that kind of position, it's a dominant spot. I'd rather have you stay in top half guard, move to side control, and then and move from there, because it's going to give you some options. It's going to allow you to strike, it's going to allow you to move, but you're going to be able to maintain control of your opponent.